During the so-called Black Decade of the 1990s, Khaled Nezzar commanded troops who carried out a plethora of crimes against Islamist rebels. On December 29, 2023 in Algiers, Khaled Nezzar, a shrewd, outspoken general from Algeria and a former minister of defense, passed away. He was largely responsible for the carnage that characterized his turbulent nation's exit from the 20th century. He was 86. Lotfi, his son, verified his death over the phone from the capital, Algiers. One of the most important figures in the most horrific moments in his nation's recent past was General Nezzar, who at the time of his death was facing war crimes and crimes against humanity charges in Switzerland. Spoken of sparingly in Algeria, in 2006 it became a criminal offense to instrumentalize the wounds of national tragedy. This bloody history and the country's refusal to acknowledge it have contributed to its continuing isolation from its North African neighbors and the Middle East. As the head of the army in October 1988, he ordered troops and tanks into Algiers to put down an uprising of young people enraged over deteriorating living conditions and egged on by Muslim fundamentalists. At least 500 people were killed in Algiers' narrow streets. The army was given free rein to shoot into the crowds and to torture arrested prisoners. Martin Evans, a historian, and John Phillips, a journalist, wrote in the book, Algeria, Anger of the Dispossessed, in a 2018 memoir. General Nezzar largely blamed tired, inexperienced troops for the massacre, saying they had been pressured by a heckling mob. He was promoted to Army Chief of Staff after that episode, where he again played a central role in an even larger conflict, the Algerian Civil War of the 1990s, known as the Black Decade. As defense minister from 1990 to 1993 and de facto head of state, according to Mr. Evans and Mr. Phillips, General Nezzar directed the first phase of the army's ferocious suppression of a radical Islamist uprising that precipitated the Civil War. That conflict would last almost 10 years and take the lives of more than 100,000 people. After Algeria's Islamist party won a majority in the first round of the country's first free elections in December 1991, the government, with General Nezzar as defense minister, declared a state of emergency, suspended the elections, banned the party, and formed a 5-man committee, including him, to run the country. Armed with what the Swiss authorities described as an extermination policy, largely formulated by General Nezzar, the security forces began killing Islamists. General Nezzar narrowly escaped an assassination attempt in 1993, and he stepped down from the government the next year at age 57. He was Republican, his son Lotfi said. "Give back the key, don't stick around." But he remained an influential voice in the penumbra of military figures that still dominates Algeria's authoritarian government.